Hello, everyone. We're here at Microsoft Ignite in sunny San Francisco.
Yes.
I'm here with Vasu, who leads Microsoft Security Business, overseeing strategy, product roadmap, and go-to-market for security, compliance, identity, management, and privacy. Wow.
Mouthful, isn't it?
It's a lot. First question, how do you do it?
Well, it's exciting. First of all, it's great to be here with you. Thank you so much for being at Ignite and in beautiful San Francisco. It's been a fun job. I've been at Microsoft now for more than 5 years, and we have an incredibly amazing team. They make life easy, and I love that we have all of these components as part of security, because we are big believers that security is not just threat protection, but for comprehensive security, you have to think about data security, compliance, governance, identity, device management, privacy, and we're one of the first ones to look at this holistically, and it's great because now as we enter the agentic AI, it underscores the importance of that comprehensive security. So it's been a fun and wild ride, and I look forward to the next few years.
Awesome. So just jumping into this here, I'd like to get your take. So how has the role of enterprise security evolved as AI has become embedded into basically all of those areas we just covered, right?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. 2 years back, we were just starting on this journey of AI, the generative AI, and now here we are in 2025, and agents is in our vocabulary. And the way we need to think about security in this agentic AI is different than what we thought about. One of the big things that we have to change in our mindset, and this is where Microsoft is evolving its vision, is security has to be as ambient and autonomous as the AI it protects. Because you think about AI, it's ambient, it's ubiquitous, it is autonomous. It's all around you. It's in your workflows, it's in your processes, it's helping you as your co-pilot, and you have agents everywhere. Mm-hmm. And very similarly, the security that protects this AI has to be with it. It cannot be a bolt-on. It has to be woven into everything. So when we think about the evolution of security in this agentic AI, we think about security as a core primitive. It is a foundational block which is across your agentic AI stack, from the silicon that powers it all, to the infrastructure that everything is built on, to the platforms and the clouds which give AI, and the data which give AI and agent the fuel, to the very agents and apps which run on top of it. Security, that core primitive woven into it, and it needs to be ambient and autonomous. That's the only way we can stay ahead of the very, very challenging threat landscape.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, isn't it? But it's exciting.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, well, Microsoft's somewhat unique in that way, in that you have so many layers to consider across all of the layers that you just mentioned. So that's very interesting. My next question is, because Microsoft Security Business spans all of those areas that we just mentioned, including identity, compliance, device management, which we didn't mention before, I don't think, data, and more. How do you prioritize across such a broad category of areas?
Yeah, when we think about security, you're right. We have to think about threat protection, security operations, data security, compliance, data governance, identity management, identity protection, identity governance, secure access, device management. And we think about it. And to your question about how do we prioritize, because each of those is a very important pillar across comprehensive security. So we think about it as a platform, and that's foundational to us. We have built a platform. It's called Sentinel. It's our agentic platform. And that platform is powered by 100 trillion threat signals. These signals help you understand what's happening in the world of threats. They help you understand what's happening inside your org for preventing things like insider risk. They give you graphs, of interconnected thing. Hey, if an attack is coming from this device, maybe that attack is going to proliferate to this identity or to this cloud infrastructure. So you can see this graph view across your assets, across the activities. And then Sentinel has an agentic layer, because there's no way humans can keep up and defend.
Right.
So it has an MCP server. So we bring together all of it in one platform. And then you have Defender, which is our threat protection solution, Entra, which is our identity and access solution, Purview, which is our data security solution, and Intune, our device management solution on top of Sentinel. So it all works cohesively. And that way, it's easy for us to think about prioritization because we think about them in blocks and looking at it in parallel as well as, sequential across the platform. And then we are integrating Security Copilot, which is our generative AI tool, into every single workflow. Because what we've learned in the last 2 years is if you think about AI as a separate thing, if you think about it as, oh, this is a different tool, or I'm expanding to get into AI, it's very hard to change habits of people using AI. Think about you and me, right? If AI is not integrated and used with your phone, as an example, if you have to use a separate device to use AI, the chances of us doing that are going to not be as common as, hey, I just have this app here that I can go into, or even better, AI is already in my workflow. And that's what we're doing with Security Copilot. And to your question about, again, prioritization, having these agents now work across these surface areas, these workflows, these tools, helps us because they are going to help us prioritize. They're going to help us figure out what's most important, save a lot of cycles, and most importantly, catch what we may have missed.
Right. That's interesting. I didn't think of that in terms of once you have these agents deployed at scale, they can help kind of bring to the surface like the things that maybe you would have missed. And that can help you with, as you're prioritizing, hey, what do we need to develop next to address these things that are happening that we're seeing pop up everywhere because our agents are flagging them?
Absolutely. And that's why I'm a big believer that agents are going to help security analysts and security teams change the asymmetry in the security landscape we've seen. I mean, security is super challenging. All of this magical AI innovation is happening against a backdrop of a pretty intense threat landscape. We see threats continue to rise. We were seeing 600 million identity-related attacks every single day.
Wow,
that's crazy. Like 7,000 password attacks per second by the day. Wow. So by the time we finish this conversation,
one of us could be hacked.
I know. So we block all that from Microsoft. But now we're seeing AI actors be very creative. They are creating more attractive phishing lures. They are using AI to create like self-generating malware, which is, obfuscates getting found. Right. They can use jailbreaks and prompt injections to manipulate AI into doing malicious things. So that landscape is getting really intense, not to mention the data risk. 80% of the leaders we surveyed are worried about data oversharing. I mean, because AI is just accessing your data.
Right.
If it's not labeled correctly, if you forget to say, hey, this is confidential versus general, it is going to access all that data. We continue to see agent sprawl. Identity is going to be really important because people are saying, well, how do I manage all these agents? So all of this is happening. It's pretty intense. And this is why I think having agents in security and defense is going to help us so tremendously.
Yeah, it's sort of like a war of attrition to a certain degree. So you have to be on your game with agents as a security.
You have to. You have to. And it's exciting because AI requires data. And I think for the first time, defenders have an advantage because we have trillions of test signals, which without AI is very hard for us to go and action. And now with agents building all of this, you can get access to that. And I'm thrilled that the ecosystem is partnering in security so we can build these graphs, both first party, third party, that provides AI with that visibility that it needs so we can truly go to preventive security. So I think it's going to be very exciting. It's going to be very inspiring. And we're going to see some breakthrough innovations in security.
So speaking of that, you've spoken about AI being core DNA for Microsoft Security. Can you share a concrete example of how you've simplified a complex security capability into something that's more broadly accessible? Like, for example, you brought in all these other third-party agents, and now you can see that in the platform. That's Copilot Security Platform, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Oh, gosh, there's so many examples. So first and foremost, I'm going to start with AI and then going to give you a couple more.
Cool.
So the thing, think about AI in security. We have done two things. We've integrated like machine learning and AI right into all of the features, the capabilities across our platform. Like I'll give you an example in a moment on predictive shielding that we do, where you can look at an attack and you can predict where it's going to go and stop it. So that's AI. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we're using agents as well integrated into it. to just really reduce that complexity. There are a couple of things we've done with Security Copilot agents. One is we are including that and integrating that into the workflow of every security product that we offer. So Defender, Entra, Intune, Purview, Sentinel now all have Security Copilot agents. That really simplifies it for Defender because you don't have to go, you don't have to onboard, you don't have to do any of these things. It's available. So you are in your threat detection view. Let's say you are investigating an incident and your threat detection agent will be there. So that capability is coming soon for all of our NE5 customers.
Cool.
Secondly, these agents themselves simplify things. My favorite example is the phishing triage agent. I mean, how many of us get phishing emails every day? Probably all of us.
Yeah.
And they're pretty convincing, right? Well, you should ask my father-in-law. He loves a good deal. So he's always, I'm like, do not click on that link.
Do you know anyone who's ever been hit by a phishing attack?
Oh, well, my own family, my father-in-law is a great example. We have to like literally hold his hands because, it's like free this, and he loves a good deal.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, nothing is really free, Daddy. And so these are all phishing. I mean, they're very convincing. Tax season, right? You'll start saying like, hey, important tax notice. And, phishing preys on the very thing which makes us human, which is our vulnerability and our curiosity. But the phishing, and then we have trained people to create user-generated alerts, which is, this is a phishing alert, this is a phishing alert. Last year, there were 30 billion phishing alerts. 30 billion from Jan to December. Just imagine the security teams working on this. Yeah. That's complex.
Yeah.
So the phishing triage alert now can look at all these phishing alerts. It can find the false positives, and there are plenty of false positives. And then it can separate out the false positives, resolve them from the true positives so that the security analysts can focus their precious time on working on those incidents.
Awesome.
That's complexity solved using an agent.
Yeah.
And what we've seen is that the phishing triage agent makes you efficient and more accurate. So we've seen it detect 6.5x times threats per minute.
Wow.
Which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And it's 77% accurate. Like it gives you the entire flow so you can double check that. You can go back. And I think that's going to just keep improving.
Wow.
That's another example. And then we talked a little bit about like predictive shielding and all. Like that's complex workflows. And now with AI embedded, you can just look at, hey, where's this attack going, and simplify the complex by going and solving that. So there's many more examples where we're using AI to really simplify the complex, to catch what others may have missed, and to, bring peace of mind to our security teams.
Awesome. Very cool. I think I heard that it's either 6 or 12 new agents that came out, right? You can tell me which one it was. It's a lot. So like for phishing triage is one you mentioned. Vulnerability prioritization, that's another one. So how did you think about balancing automation, so letting the agent to go off and do a lot of this stuff, and bringing the human in the loop in? With these tools, like how'd you balance that?
Yeah, absolutely. We are excited. It's 12 plus agents we've announced, but what is even more exciting is that our partners are developing agents, and so in totality, we are announcing 40 plus agents now.
Wow.
And then we had announced agent building capabilities in early October. Basically, anyone can build agents using Security Copilot. And I think they've seen more than 350 agents being built on that. So that's pretty amazing.
Kind of scary that there's 350 security needs that you need an agent for, right?
There's billions, I'm sure. But it's pretty cool. And so I think that in terms of how we think about these agents and how we're thinking about prioritizing all of them is we look at where the work is really needed for them to go and solve that. So as an example, when we announce our agents, we have a few for threat protection, we have a few for data security, we have a few for identity, we have a few for device management. Things like, you named phishing triage, you named vulnerability, those are great examples. We have an agent for threat detection, so it can look at all the signals and help you detect threats. We have an agent for advanced hunting. It can, especially early in career professionals, tier 1 analysts, we call them. It's hard for them to really do advanced hunting without learning for years that skill. Now you have an agent which is working with you on helping you do threat hunting. We have an agent for threat briefing, like you could threat intelligence briefing. So you get contextualized and customized information on your threats. We have agents for device offboarding. We have agents for managing access. Like, I feel like there's an agent for everything, and I feel like that's where the world is going. So we are really looking at announcing these. We announce these agents. We want people to start using them. We want to make it easy for them. Some of the big friction areas that we hear from them all the time is, how do I quickly integrate this into my workflow, right? It takes too long to onboard. Sometimes we feel like, well, I have to really think about what I'm going to do with it. So we want to like reduce those barriers to entry. And, to the point you made, I'm very excited that our partners are going to develop on this as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I just want to go back to the human in the loop part. So is a lot of the things that people are building agents for things that they don't want to do themselves, they can't do themselves, they just need extra help with? What's your take on that?
Yeah, there are. So all of these agents are copilots. So they are all intended to be with the human in the loop.
Right.
What we have tackled with the use cases is things which we see analysts asking for. So we do a lot of research with our customers, third parties, to say what are the unmet needs that people need, and they are also like, it's, just change management. So we want to start, like phishing is a great example. We know that that would be an effective area for people to start with. It's a very specific use case, a very dedicated workflow. And when we do these agents to make sure the human's always in the loop, the agent gives the entire like logic and path of actions that is taken. So you can go back and check. And like a parent and a child, I think of it that way. Like, it's like, I trust you, but I'm going to verify.
Yeah.
with my teenagers specifically, I'm like, yeah, that's right. But let me just go and see what you've done.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing. Like when an agent starts work, the human will go and audit that. Everything is auditable. You can see all the actions. And then as you see it do these better and better, then you can say, okay, action these 10. We've also designed the agents deliberately to flag risks. So if there's something which is out of the norm, it's used to, then it will say, hey, Grant, I need you to double check this so that it's right. And so the agents and the humans are constantly in this conversation where the agent acts on things which it is trained to do well, and then it flags things. And then the more you train it, because it learns very quickly with your context, then the better it gets. So the human's always in the loop. We've chosen use cases which we believe lend itself easily to automation. And at every stage, we have the right guardrails and checks and balances to make sure we're checking for that accuracy.
Cost and complexity is often a barrier for a lot of organizations. What steps is Microsoft taking to lower those barriers as much as possible so that every organization, because every organization needs these types of tools, right, to be secure, can, work with these tools?
Yeah, you're so great. Such a great question. Cost and complexity often are the biggest barriers to adoption of technologies we need. We've done a couple of things. From the very beginning, our goal has been to give the best protection, so you're not compromising on the efficacy with the best cost. And so we started our journey with consolidation. And when you consolidate, as an example, when you use the Microsoft Security portfolio, you get 60% plus savings over third-party tools that you were to use. And the reason is you would need many, many tools. Remember all of the words you were nailing: data security and compliance and governance and identity and device management. So, you can get it from Microsoft and you can save. At the same time, we know that our customers like choice. So we have made it very modular. You can start your journey wherever you are. But we do believe consolidation helps you save costs. The second thing that we have done is we look at very targeted, what can we do better? So we are continuing to innovate. As an example, we made a deliberate decision not to have a separate product for AI, but to extend our capabilities. So Purview is a great example. It's our data security solution. Purview protects AI as well, because the data that you need for humans or for AI, it's kind of the same data. You still need the same sensitivity labelings. So we're constantly giving our customers more features within the tools that they already have so that they get great value for what they have invested in. We are now bringing agents into the workflow. So things like Security Copilot, which was a consumptive service that you paid for. Now, for customers who already have the Microsoft Security products with RE5 license, soon they will have Security Copilot included, so they don't have to pay for it. In fact, for all our existing Security Copilot and ME5 customers, they get this benefit starting immediately. So that's great. And then from a complexity standpoint, we're continuing to look at, we break it down, and we spend a lot of time on understanding how analysts are working, whether it's on data security or identity or threat protection across the board. And what are those cliffs where it's really hard for them? It could be onboarding, it could be deployment, it could be purchase, it could be usage. So we call it, like I call it, the easy to try, buy, use, discover initiative. Mm-hmm. And so how do you continue to simplify? So if it was taking you 5 steps, it takes you now 1 step to do that. And so those are some of the things that we've done, looking at costs, looking at context, looking at consolidation. And then one last thing, it would be a miss to not mention this, data. Many times we see security teams sort of choosing between cost and context. They're like, okay, I really would like all this context, but it's expensive for this data to store this data. And so we introduce capabilities like Data Lake in our platform, which now you can store the data you need. You don't have to do these trade-offs between context and cost at really cost-effective prices and still access when you need it. So there's a lot of innovations we're doing across the board to help our customers get great value out of the investments they've made and to meet them wherever they're on their journey.
Awesome. That's awesome. So I have one last question. So as customers deploy AI agents and platforms, how do you ensure that the same security and governance practices apply to AI systems themselves and not just traditional IT systems?
Yeah. When we think about the AI systems, we are taking a different approach. We look at the entire stack. So we don't look at just any one element. Like we look at it from infrastructure, right? From the silicon, like what are the security controls we need to build in, to the platforms and the cloud and the apps and agents. We also are taking the best of all worlds. So we have looked, Microsoft has been in security for a long time, we've been in IT for a long time, and that experience really counts. We are an IT provider, we're a cloud provider, we're a productivity provider, we are a security provider. There are very few companies which do all of that. That has provided us unique insights into how do we secure this completely comprehensively. And it's informed our vision of where we're going is security needs to be animated and autonomous.
Right.
It's also helped us understand how do you really make security by default, by design, and secure operations. So for AI systems, that's going to be even more important because they're so fast and the speed and scale is nothing like we've seen before. So we've taken the best learnings from the IT system, done our own AI research on how AI works, what it accesses, what's the data that it needs, and then we've sort of embedded these controls into every layer. So you can have things like observability that we announced with Agent 365 in security across every single control plane that there is. We think about security as just a security team's job, but security is everybody's job. And unless we all have great hygiene, unless we all have MFA as an example on our phone, the both security team is never going to be able to stay up. Right. They're just not able to protect us. So
my funky question for you is, do you think at some point, with identity and privacy and all that, we're going to need to give the agents specific controls and we're going to have create security for the agents themselves?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You think about it as embedding controls within the agents, like the guardrails, right? Yeah. So that they know good signals is a bad signal. And also you're going to have to control them. If they go off course and they don't do what they intended to do, you're going to have to stop access to that agent. So all of this, it's changing. So it's very fascinating.
Yeah.
Because agents are it's a workforce and it's, going from low levels of autonomy to higher levels of autonomy. And we're just, getting ready. But I think security is going to be one of the most important conversations you're going to have because IT is great until security breaks.
Yeah, everything's going fine, and then
suddenly your system's not working. There's a ransomware. I always say that. Yeah. When you don't do security right, then you lose trust in the very technology that you're reliant on to work, to play, to live. And when that happens, it's a very dystopian society.
Thank you so much for being here, Vasu. This was a great conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. Security is a team sport. We say that all the time. And Glenn, it's fantastic to have you as part of our team as well. So it's fantastic. It takes a village. We all have to work together on this. Right. It's a giant ecosystem. And the more the industry, like us, we work together, we create awareness for security, the better we're going to be. So I look forward to our journey together. Awesome.